I think people think a life by design is just working less and getting paid less. And it was like, no, that does not have to be.
We're working less and getting paid more.
Yes.
Hello.
Strap yourself in for Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral.
Well, hello. This is another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral.
Hello.
And this one's a beauty.
It is a beauty. I think this topic I would get asked about probably once a day.
Yeah? Wow.
Once a day.
It's probably why we're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
Crowd
this
pleasers.
is all around life by design.
How do you get a life by design? How do you design your life?
And what it is. And so we're going to talk about what it is, how you do it, how we've done it, how you help other people do it.
Try to.
And we probably should say that, you know, we know life by design is perhaps a privilege. Not everyone has the opportunity to do a life by design.
Hang on. Whoa. So it's about choice, right? Making some
True.
choices.
True.
So talk to me about this privilege business.
Oh, well, you know, look, there'll be some people that go, if you're a starving kid in Africa, you don't have. All right, okay, you've just given me that look. All right, we know that
that is fair. Actually, no. All right, I'll give you that one. Yes, it is a privilege, but I reckon our target audience are fairly privileged.
Yeah. Let's just say if you're listening to this, you probably have a choice.
You have a choice.
Yeah, no,
everyone has choices.
remove the probably.
However, some people perhaps have less choice. So,
Yeah.
our audience has choices. We think that they're pretty privileged. We think they can have a life by design.
Yeah, and we both have a life by design. So when did you sort of become conscious of you want a life by design, or conscious of this whole concept of life by design?
Great question. On reflection, I think I've always pretty much marched to the beat of my own drum. But of course, life isn't about you and you alone, and you have to sort of fall into line, and you have to have some sort of structure and follow the crowd, I guess. So where I think I became very conscious of wanting to do my own thing and working toward doing that would have been probably around 20 years ago, 25 years ago. What about you?
Again, on reflection, I still remember I was about 21.
A couple of years ago.
No, probably even longer, earlier than that, like 18, 19.
Wow.
And I was working at National Australia Bank, so I got the job at NAB, and this option of super, like I wasn't really how much percentage you pay in super.
Yes.
And I remember opting to pay in 17% of my salary in super.
At 21.
Which is massive, which is probably a financial planner would go, that's dumb. But I remember
I
thinking...
think they'd say you're amazing and you're a one-off. Who at 21 wants to put in that much super?
But you know why
I know
I
what
did
I was
it?
doing with my
You know why I
income.
did it? I had it in my head. That I'd always have children. And I remember thinking, when I have children, I want the choice to either go back to work or not work. And I remember thinking that. And
Gosh, that's very young to be
I know.
so progressive about that. That's awesome.
and
But it's unusual,
it's
right?
very unusual. And it actually, on reflection, surprised me because, I remember thinking I want choices. And I think life by design is
about
choice.
choices. Well, life by design is about flexibility. And it's really interesting because on reflection of when did I start to realise perhaps how I could have a life by design was when I joined a bank. There's something in banks here. Banks should be sponsoring us, quite frankly. ANZ or NAB should be sponsoring us because for the first time in my life, the bank, and you've already proven this from all of the conversations we've had, were ahead of the game when it came to offering flexibility.
Yes.
Maybe it was because of their size, but somebody in the people and culture, somebody at the very top, the CEOs at the time were saying, how can we actually attract and retain talent, particularly women, given most of the caring of children falls on women, and they were open to flexibility back then. And that is why I joined a bank, not because I was keen on banking. I didn't know how to save a dollar, let alone run up a balance sheet, but I went and joined a bank. So there's something about the flexibility and the opportunity to create capacity to do things for you, by you, for you, within that construct.
Yeah.
That was my early foray.
Yeah. I think I became extremely conscious of it about 12 years ago. So I agree. The bank had given me lots of flexibility, but I had left by then. and my business was starting to get busy. And we had bought a property up southern New South Wales coast, and I decided that I was not going to work school holidays.
Yahoo.
So I said we're going to spend school holidays up at the coast, and I blocked out and I just made a decision that for 12 weeks of the year I am not working school holidays. And that was the really real conscious start of life by design for me.
And let's just take a step back, because I love that. And you don't work school holidays now, and you don't have children at school. And I love that. So you've stuck to it, because it's actually not about school holidays. It's about you having more time to do things you want to do, which may include work, but it's at your pace, by you, for you.
Yep.
I think that's absolutely awesome. You're certainly an early adopter. I would say you've also been a bit of an inspiration to me and to many, many others when it comes to how do you structure your life in a way that you're actually doing really great things. And I remember I'd be working, I'd be on a plane travelling, and my work has been awesome. I've loved working. I've enjoyed it. That's why I've done it for so long. And I've had great gigs working in great organisations, lots of resources, generally with really good people. And I would message you, or I'd be talking to you, and you'd say, yeah, about to get on a plane, heading off here for a day, getting paid a lot of money for that, and doing some really interesting work with some really great people and stuff I love, stuff that's meaningful. And I think, wow, you're doing all of that for you, for your brand.
Yeah.
That's really inspiring. And you've been doing that for a long time, and taking school holidays.
And I think, and you just mentioned the money too. I think people think a life by design is just working less and getting paid less. And it was like, no, that does not have to be.
We're working less and getting paid more.
Yes.
Hello.
Exactly. But it's not about just going, I'm just going to go part-time. No. And people
But it
then,
could be if you want that. So, again, it depends on who you are, right?
True.
It depends on who you are. So let's think about this a little bit. My true life by design started just over 3.5 years ago. Less than that actually. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years ago when I went out on my own.
Yep.
But there was a whole lot of steps taken to get me to that point. And one of the key things was buying the farm.
Yep.
And being able to work and to live in the same place, not have to commute because I save so much time, but being a part of nature. For me, that is one of my top priorities, that and having to exercise in the morning. So when you said to me, let's talk about life by design today, I started to think about what is it that actually made me jump into that as quickly as I could and take the risk, because there are risks in life by design.
Absolutely.
Might not have worked, might have been a disaster, but I backed myself, and I knew that if it didn't work, I had other options, other choices. And I started thinking, my day, Ral, I wake up around 6:30, 7 at the latest. I can't wait to get out to our deck and look at what Mother Nature's serving up. That's just my little thing. I make myself a great cup of coffee. I sit down, I look over the paddocks, I'll spot a horse, and I'll start to think about creative things, because I want to write a LinkedIn post by 7:30. If I haven't already thought about that the night before, I'm going to write that right there and then. And then I make a pact with myself that I will then go and do my exercise, because if I start exercising first thing in the morning, I feel great and I'm set up for the day. So therefore, I have no meetings, no coaching sessions, no conversations with anyone else other than the dog and Richard before 10 a.m. I couldn't do that in a corporate role.
No. That's a recent thing I keep adding to life by design, so I still don't work school holidays. I in fact I
like adding.
I take more holidays now. But the recent thing I've added is I don't have any meetings before 11 because the same with you. In the morning is my time creative space for writing, and I like to exercise after I've done that. So there's just no meetings before 11.
Now, when I was working in regional and global roles, I could be online from 7 in the morning till midnight in meetings, of which I had no choice of. Sometimes I had to set meetings, but I was conscious of time zones. However, if you're trying to talk to New York, or you've got to talk to London or Singapore or New Zealand, then you have to flex, and you have to be available.
Yeah. And some of that stuff we talked about, when you are working in a corporate, and especially if you're in a regional or global role, you are working those long hours and you have no choice. And you might go, well, you probably have a choice, the right to disconnect and all that stuff's going on.
Not
but
if you're a leader.
But you don't have a choice
No, you
with
don't.
that.
And you embrace it and you lean into it and you cope with it. But I think it does remind yourself of, if I had the choice, if I didn't have to do this, would I do it?
Yeah.
Possibly not. So maybe that's a great catalyst for the next part of this conversation, which is, okay, so what is the benefit of a life by design? And when we say life by design, what we mean is you actually choosing and being in a lot more control about your future.
Yeah.
How you spend your time, what's in, what's not.
Exactly. What you get rid of, what you stop doing. And it's
Who
it's
you
sort of
get rid of.
what you decide to do. I was doing, side, the word side means to kill.
As in
off.
CID.
Yeah, as in
okay.
suicide, homicide. So side is to stop, to kill something off, right?
a
So we've
learning.
got to, what you stop doing. Now that could be you stop working for someone else, or it could be you stop taking meetings at 9 p.m. at night or whatever it is. But you got to decide what you stop doing.
You stop doing.
And then, and like I decided to not work school holidays.
Yeah. I love that. I try not to work Fridays.
Yes.
We don't start work till 10 a.m. for me, 11 a.m. for you, weekdays. The stopping might be, and I think this is an important one, particularly for our listeners who might not go straight from a full-time corporate role into working for themselves fully, but they might say, actually, I'm going to do 3 days a week for the corporate or for the gig I'm working for, and I'm going to set up something else for me.
Little side hustle.
Or I'm going to spend 2 days with my kids.
Yeah.
3 days at work.
It's easy to get sucked back in. And so one of the things is you've made the decision and then you've got to stick to it though. You've got to commit to it. And I remember a little story about you when you decided to leave the corporate world and set up your own coaching practice. And I remember you speaking to me and said, I've been offered a job with another consulting firm. And you thought, it's not great money, but it's only 3 days a week. So look, I'll probably do it. And you're going, what do you reckon? And you said, because Rich, your husband, says I shouldn't do it. And I went, I don't think you should do it either, because the 3 days a week won't be 3 days a week. You'll be getting paid 3 days a week. You'll be working 5, and you've made a commitment to do this, stick to it. And so you said, okay, I'll take more notice of you than my husband.
Well, two people who are
pretty close.
Intelligent beings, human beings who I adore, both you and Rich, telling me the same thing. I think that's worth listening to. What you just said, I'd forgotten about, so thank you for reminding me. But what it does, I think, reinforce is you've got to create capacity to live a life by design.
Yes.
So it is about what you're not going to do as much as it is about what you are going to do. I think that's a very, very good point. Here's a stat for you, because I can't have you being only academic and me not. Did you know that 50% of the workforce actually lack meaning and purpose? So they go off to work and do work that actually doesn't mean anything to them and doesn't in any way fill them with purpose. Did you know that?
It probably doesn't surprise me, but it's sad, isn't it?
It is sad.
It's sad.
Now, there's jobs that have to be done that aren't meaningful and purposeful. But if you can identify, and comes back to knowing yourself really well, which actually is where it starts. If you want a life by design, know you. Know what you want. Know what you're good at. Know what you don't like, what you don't want, what you should say no to.
Yep.
But also understand what your purpose is. As I was coming here this morning, I was thinking to myself, what do we do? We educate. You and I are educators.
Yep.
You educate individually and you educate in groups. Mm-hmm. Now we're actually educating via broadcast. So we're educating publicly and we're sharing our learnings, our experience, our knowledge, our humour. And the point of that is because we think that can help others.
Yes. Yeah, you're
So
right.
that's purposeful, right?
That is purposeful. It's what we
why we
get
love
excited about.
doing
It's why
it.
we love what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is about choice. And I like the fact it's about knowing yourself and knowing what brings you happiness and energy and stuff like that. It's what we spoke about. It was like both of us like to exercise and be creative in the morning. So we've got a policy of no meetings before a certain time. You just said don't work Friday. I try not to work Friday either. It's a golf day when
Love
we
that.
can.
And you've taken up golf in the last 12 months.
Yes.
As part of your life by design.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about why golf.
Well, Steve and I used to play golf individually like 20, 30 years ago, and then, kids happened and golf takes up a lot of time. We always knew we'd get back into
back to
it. And the time came to get back into it. So
And you made that choice.
and it's made that choice. And so if you look at my diary, so one of the things it was like, how do you you want life by design, you got to plan it and commit to it. And that's what I was saying. You've got to make a commitment. So one of the things I do is in my diary, the first thing I do is school holidays is completely blocked out. So there's no work happening. Now Fridays are completely blocked out. And there's what says in my diary is golf.
Do we work Monday or Tuesday?
No, I try
or
not
Wednesday?
to work Monday as well. I try not to work because Monday, I don't know, you're sort of doing admin and I'm always working, but I'm not. This is like delivery, like running workshops.
Sure.
People often know how many hours a week do you work?
Because
And
I get asked that.
I don't know. I sort of feel like I'm working every day.
Sure.
But it's doing stuff that I like doing. If I come up with a great idea Sunday morning, I'll get up and write about it.
Well, isn't it funny? And what you're actually suggesting there is because I get asked, there's this one friend who asks me all the time, so how many hours are you doing? So how is it better? And she's trying to reconcile, does she go off and do her own thing because that's a big risk and she's not a big risk taker? My work, I love. It doesn't feel like work. I would do it for free.
yes.
But I'm not. I spend a long time training and developing and, educating myself to get paid for it so I can live flexibly and live my own life. But I don't count the hours because I love what I do.
Yeah.
So
Someone said to me once, you should be getting into a position where you would do your work for free because you
there.
love it so much.
I'm there, baby.
But you are so good at it, your clients would pay you double.
Absolutely.
And I remember I was telling this to a client and they went, we shouldn't tell you this, but we'd so pay you double.
Oh, I love the fact they
should
told
not.
you.
You should not have told me.
Oh, how nice, how
But
flattering.
but you've got to, to me, it's like you got to plan it and you got to commit to it. So putting stuff in the diary works for me. The kids' birthdays. So I made a pact to myself that I would never travel when the kids' birthdays were on.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I remember one time I got a gig in Malaysia with the Obama Foundation. Just another name drop.
Hang on, I'll just pick that up.
Yes, pick it up from the floor again. But it was Alex's birthday. Yeah. So I took her with me.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Win-win.
she was my little assistant
Yeah.
and got to meet Barack Obama, best birthday
Great
present ever.
birthday present.
So it's, I think when we're talking about, because you often say about, have you got a life by design or have you got a life by default?
Well, that's the opposite, right? So are
Yeah.
you working for others and doing things for others that they want that you are not in control of?
Yeah.
And most people are. That's life. That's just how it's always been. Go and work for the man. It's what our parents instilled in us, right? Work hard.
Yep.
It's a badge of honour.
We're not saying a lot of people like working in corporates or like with their
loved
job, and that I'm not saying you can only get a life by design by leaving that and working for yourself, but it's knowing what you want your life would be. What would your week look? What would your day look like? What would your week look like? What would your year look like? Right. And going, okay, if that's how I want to live my life. Design it.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of life by design. This is how I want it to look. It's like if you designed a house, this is how I want it to look.
Absolutely.
Go about building it. And it's the same with a life by design.
Absolutely. And I think what's also critical here is you don't have to stop something and throw everything out completely and start again. You and I started working toward the lives we've got now, which is life by design, years and years ago. Started thinking about, well, how do I want it to be? Yep. When would be the right time to step away? When is the ideal time to not work Fridays, not work Mondays, take 4 big holidays a year or whatever it is. So again, it's thinking about this stuff now and planning for it.
Yeah. And it's not as if you never waver from it. It's like it's not as if if a client rings and they go, oh, we've got a conference, it's on Friday, can you do it? I'm not going, no, I'm not doing it because I'm playing golf.
Got to be flexible.
But I'm very flexible with it. But it was, it's the exception.
And the point is you've still got the choice. You can
Yes,
make
I've still got the choice.
And somebody is not making that choice for you, Ral, and that's the difference.
And I have I often have people wanting me to do workshops like mid-January.
Yeah.
And the answer is no. The answer is always no. I'm making the choice.
Clear.
I'm not coming back from holidays 2 weeks early to run a workshop.
Yeah.
And so we'll do it another time.
And that works perfectly. So a life by design versus a life by default. How do we get there? So there are some steps. There's some tips and techniques,
Yep.
as there always,
There always is.
in keeping it real with Jac and Ral. So tip 1,
I think tip 1 is plan what
Can I-
you like. Decide.
can I say there's a tip before that?
That's tip 0.
Tip 0, which is actually where you need to start. Know yourself. Know what it is you want. Recognise when you work best. Recognise a whole lot of things about yourself. That's about knowing yourself, self-awareness. Okay, so tip 0, self-awareness.
Yeah. And then go, well, based on that, that would make me happy and everything. So how could I design a life that's still going to bring me money, but it's going to help me operating at my best because I know myself.
Yeah. Okay. So that's about recognition, writing down maybe, okay, what are the things that I love doing that maybe I'm not doing enough of. So there is a bit of a, when I was looking sort of and thinking about this in a way that we would be able to give some good insight, it is start by deconstructing your life.
Yep.
Okay, so look at the things that say, what do you want to keep? What do you want to leave out? What do you want to change? Write those down. What do I want to keep?
That's nice. So, yeah.
What do I want to leave out? What do I want to change? Okay, then reconstruct a new reality. Now,
Right, that's good.
I have a ball with this with my clients. So another little coaching
Yeah.
tip. One of the things we do when clients come to me and they say, I'm having a lovely time here. I want to know what my next job is. But actually, Jac, I want to get a bit more strategic about my future. I want to think differently about how the future might look, maybe in the next 10 years. And this is about writing out. And there's something about writing something out and reading it back to me. What is your perfect day look like in 10 years' time?
Yep.
Dream. Now, some of my clients go, oh, but I couldn't live by the beach because I wouldn't be able to afford it. No conditions on this. You start telling yourself what you can't do, you're not going to do it. Let's look at what you can do. And let's be really open to that because a lot can happen in 10 years.
Yep.
So what does your perfect day look like? Walk me through it. You wake up. What do you do next? Then what do you do? Then how do you fill the day? What sort of work are you doing that's interesting? But not start with work. Start with your life. What does your lifestyle look like?
Yeah, I like that. And it might not be, we said, what's your perfect day look like? And you may not achieve that.
What have you
but
got
if you achieve
80% of it?
Exactly. What have you got 80% of it? So it's knowing, I like the fact that it's not knowing what you want in your life. And when it comes to your work, I think the other good thing to do is go, well, what do you like about your current role? And what do you don't like? And therefore, if you change roles, go, I'm looking for this in my role and less of this. So again, at least you're happier in your role.
Absolutely. So keep, leave out, change. What are those things going to be? Deconstruct your life and then reconstruct a new reality. And I think what really, really matters is focusing on what matters to you and how you actually achieve that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got some sad news the other day. Somebody who used to work with me passed away.
Right.
A young woman leaving behind children. And what that did, and we've both experienced death in our own family's scenario recently, it just reminds me, life is short. If you are miserable, go and create a life by design. Go and make some changes. Doesn't have to be entirely a big, big change, but it should be some change. Don't wait until it's too late.
Right. You just reminded me of the Rod Stewart song Young Turks.
I thought you were going to say sailing.
No, it's where he says life is brief, time is a thief.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't going to sing that because I forget, but it is. Life is brief. Time is thief. If you just keep waiting. So I think the overarching theme for this is you don't need to live a life by default. You can have a life by design, the life you want.
Got choices.
It takes choice.
And courage.
It takes courage. There is probably some risk to it, but the alternative is you spend the rest of your life living a life by default.
Absolutely.
And no one wants that.
And therefore not controlling your destiny.
Excellent.
Bugger that.
Bugger that.
Rod Stewart's living a life by design.
Is he? Is he still alive?
He's still alive. Got some leggy blonde next to him. Go, Rod. I love it.
Okay, God, we try to finish serious and we
we've
never
done
do.
enough serious.
We never do. Okay, that is another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you heard, please give us a rating. I know we keep saying this, but ratings are good. Ratings help us, share the love and reviews.
And I've got one request. yes, please do the rating. But if you can't do the rating, can you recommend our podcast to others? I was sitting in the hairdresser yesterday, getting my hair done, and my hairdresser, who's a big fan of keeping it real, thank you, Emma, said to me, how's it going? What's the next episode going to be about? And I was chatting away to her, and obviously I'm not too quiet. She's not too quiet. We're all yelling over hairdryers. At the end of another lady's appointment, she came over to me and she goes, I just heard you talking about a podcast. I'm always looking for great podcasts. And I looked at her, I said, you are so our target audience. And she was. And so she's downloaded it. And can you talk more about our podcast at the hairdressers?
Exactly. I will. It's where I do my best marketing.
There you are. So please recommend and share Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral with your friends and family, or maybe your team members or colleagues, because, again, we are here with meaning and purpose, and we want to share what we've learned, and hopefully it will help.
Yep. If you get value out of it, share the love. All right. That's another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral.
Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keelan Ferrari Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.